Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Most Low Budget Movie Reviews. I am your host, Clarence. Thank you for tuning in. In today's episode, I am reviewing The Old Guard 2. Now, this is a sequel to a movie that came out in 2020. And just to kind of give you guys a general idea, and I have to do it here because the movie really doesn't give you space for that. It was about a group of immortal humans that, they've lived for hundreds of years and they now work as mercenaries trying to do good and make a difference in the world. Now, someone finds out their secret and threatens their existence and things, go from there. This was a pretty solid movie. I remember thinking this was like a superhero type deal without having that extra layer of comic book glaze on it. I mean, the plot was fine. I mean, the action was pretty solid, and they provided an opening for a sequel, which was pretty obvious and unnecessary. If they wanted to make a sequel, they could have just easily went another direction with it, since the main story was pretty much concluded. Fast forward to 2025, and here we are. And as my veterans know, when it comes to sequels, I boil it down to the basic question. Do they really have more story to tell? Or is this just a cash grab and try to create some sort of franchise? So what is this one about? Quinn, who was Andy's old partner from back in the day, now a long time ago, 500 years ago, they were captured and she was buried in the Iron Maiden and thrown in the ocean. So basically she drowns, she revives, and then she drowns all over again. I mean, that went on for 500 years. That's just a horrible fate to even think about. Anyway, Discord, the world's first immortal, finds her and encourages this beef with Andy. So Quinn thought Andy was suffering a similar fate and finds out she's been free all these years and never tried to save her from her point of view. Meanwhile, the team, they do this job and they become aware of Discord and Quinn, and they enlist the help of another immortal to kind of help with that confrontation. In the course of all of this, we find out something very special about Nile and her powers and things that can actually change everything. And that's actually where I will stop. From there, Discord sets her plan into motion to draw out the team. And, they all kind of have this face-off. Will Andy be able to stop Discord and Quinn from possibly destroying the world? So what did the pros think? Well, they came in at a 25% on 63 reviews, with the audience at a 42% on over 250 ratings. But what did I think? Let's get to these positives. Now, the team dynamic is, still pretty good. Some nice action set pieces. They added some new characters for us to get to know. Then they kind of get to the story, which is really where my negatives start. The original felt fresh and was fast paced and gave us just enough background where we can kind of just fill in some of the blanks and, keep things moving. The pacing here is really slow and bad in places. There's scenes that are just bogged down by discussing the lore in the background when they should have just been, dropping it in here and there, just like they did with the first one. But as the runtime kept creeping on, I kept thinking, this really needs to pick up if they're going to resolve all of this in an hour and 45 minutes. So we get to the final confrontation, except it's not. Then it becomes clear. They stretched this all the way out because this is just like a bridge movie or, a setup for the trilogy. However, they really missed the point. The sequel still has to be compelling and interesting enough for us to want to see how things turn out. And they definitely didn't do that here. The sequel was a huge disappointment and a step back from what made the original solid. Again, I always say this about cliffhangers. Just tell us the story, give us the best you got, and if it's good enough, you'll get the opportunity to tell another story. This was not a very satisfying follow-up, and I really don't have any interest in seeing this third movie. And again, and this is one of those ones where if they wanted us to watch another one, they really don't give you any kind of background. The breakdown I gave initially, I know sounds a little bit confusing. If the names I was just throwing around, if you don't know those names and things, you can't start on this movie. You have to watch the first one. And yeah, I mean, no, I didn't enjoy this one. I put this one right at a 50% on the rotten scale. I did something I rarely do, which is research. I wanted to see if this was just a long movie that they broke into two parts, or they actually had both movies greenlit already and, they're going to start shooting the third, or the third's in production or pre-production or whatever. And the answer is no. They don't even have a guarantee there will be a third movie. So this is even more egregious that they would end things the way that they did. And I'm so upset about this because it ends like it's an Empire Strike Back deal where Empire Strike Back, there was a clear, compelling story point. They needed to flesh out some things. It ends on such an uncertain note. And, if you're going to do a trilogy, that's how you set things up. Even The Matrix 2 had its flaws, but even they ended things with the cliffhanger, the way they ended it. You're like, okay, we already knew the third was coming, but they ended it in a way where it was compelling enough for you to want to see how things wrapped up, even though they kind of muddied up the lore and all of that. That's a podcast for another day. But here, the lore and the main bad guy, played by Uma Thurman, by the way, it just isn't interesting enough to demand a sequel. I mean, I say skip it, but maybe I'm wrong. You guys are going to have to let me know on this one because I just was pretty disappointed overall. With that being said, I'll close it out right here. If this is your first time, don't make it your last. This has been a Podbean production, mostly low-budget movie reviews with Clarence. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. And yes, go check out the YouTube channel, Low Budget Movie Reviews with Clarence. All of my reviews post there as well as Podbean and all streaming services. So if you're in the gym or something, definitely go ahead and listen to me on one of your streaming services if you have one. And if you're at home or you're driving, just throw on YouTube and pull me up. You can actually listen to the full episodes there as well. Also, more videos coming soon. I have a bunch of them written. I just got to shoot them. Life happens. I work a full-time job, and this is just a fun type hobby thing I'm doing. So those videos will be coming soon. I think I have one coming out this weekend, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you once again. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.